Hey guys, welcome back. We are doing a cigarette burns series one on this one. This is not much of a cult classic. It was kind of in a debate on which one I should do with this one. It's not a cult classic because it did have some commercial success enough to make a sequel. Although I would argue that the sequel was it was really strange because it was really really good except for one part, and I won't name it because I'll let you watch it. But you'll know what it is. For some reason, it just didn't fly for whatever reason. But during that time, to be honest with you, a lot of media was going the way of making superheroes because you're talking about maybe a year and a half ago to 2 years, and that's when superhero logic was really really high. So I can see why they did it. That's for sure. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'm talking about one individual movie here, which is Sicario. Sicario. Sicario is a very, very good movie. I would put it in maybe 413, 412, somewhere there in the top 500 movies of all time. A lot of the lower end 500s come from this time period, 19, or I'm sorry, 2019 till about 1990. Okay, that is when the majority of the lower end stuff comes. Okay, and there's a reason for that. One is that it's probably one of the last time periods that film will really truly be taken seriously. Um, it may not. There may be a change in the tide and things like that. I don't know, but I can tell you that video games are getting more and more popular, and also there's a lot of other stuff that's in the works. Film is kind of getting pushed over to what I would call the fine arts thing, or it's just a big commercial expense. Okay, so yes, film can definitely make money, but so can television, so can a lot of other things. But I still think pound for pound, the best way to tell a story is in about 2.5 to 2 hours. I think that gives you plenty of time to tell an excellent story. You're certainly welcome to disagree with me, but I do think to get the overall zeitgeist of an idea, 2.5 hours is a pretty appropriate amount of time. I think it will always be the best amount of time to tell it. I believe that, and before film was invented, even way, way back when they were telling oral stories over a campfire or whatever, I do believe that was probably about the time limit that they set for themselves. I just think that it's a good, holistic way of telling a story. Um, but Sicario is definitely something that you should see. I don't really know how to explain this. I hope that most of you have seen it, that's for sure. The reason I say that is because you should have. It was a very, very good movie. It didn't even really fly under the radar. So this should not be something that is entirely unknown to you. They did make a sequel. I believe it was called Day of the Dead. I'm not sure what the actual sequel's name was, but it was like I said, it was actually really, really good. It was just clunky in one part, and I don't know why, but audiences were so turned off by that one part that they won't make a third one. I definitely think they should. I think that just having one clunky part is not enough to throw out a series that excellent. So, that's just my personal opinion. I know that certainly Hollywood disagrees sometimes. I'm sure it made its money back, though, because the first one was so successful. But Sicario deals with Mexican drug lords and how things are how they operate down there, and it is a very very realistic story. And by realistic, I mean it shows that there's not really a good nor a bad guy. Okay, this is oftentimes what you don't see, except for kind of dramatic small picture role. Like this is the reason why we should still have small pictures. Does that make sense? Instead of these big auspicious ones. It's fine to have Marvel and DC and all that stuff. It's a really good opportunity to really showcase talent and things like that. It is. It's an excellent wheel for it. But if you want a small picture that means something, these are the type of films that you would go see. Okay. Now this would be something that you would enjoy. You don't have to be a theologian of film, so to speak. You don't have to have any of that stuff in order to do that. You just need to watch this film to enjoy it. Okay? And I'm serious about that. It really is that good, and you will enjoy it. I don't want to go into it because I hate giving spoilers. I'm just giving you a kind of a diegesis of this movie. From start to finish, this movie moves. and it moves in such a way that you're just swept up with it. Whether or not you believe in Josh Brolin's character, Benicio del Toro's, Emily Blunt's, it doesn't matter because you're swept up in the story. And that is a really good way to tell a story, okay? Because you shouldn't have to agree with characters to understand that the story is happening. There's a classic debate in storytelling, which is that you have to like your protagonist. And I argue that yes, you do. You have to, but it's not like you have to like them like, hey, I'd go on a date with them or hey, I'd have a beer with them. Okay. About a protagonist, it really comes down to this. Is there something in them that I respect so much that all the other nonsense or bullshit that they do equals out? And that really is a hard way of telling a story. It basically means that that the character is so complex that the only reason you really like them is this one attached issue. And the other ones, all the bad stuff that they do to get there, really doesn't make a difference. But it does, but it doesn't weigh so heavily that you're turned off by the characters and ultimately turned off by the story because you just don't believe in the character. All right, bud, what are you doing here? Oh, sorry, bud. Get up, get up there. Get up there. Get up there, guys. Okay. But regardless, um, and that is an excellent way to tell stories. It's a very hard way to tell stories. Believe you me, writing a character that is realistic is far, far harder than writing a character that's either likable or unlikable. We as humans know what we like and don't like. It's pretty easy. It's harder to tell somebody that you should respect or understand someone than it is to say you should like them or not like them. Liking and not liking is easy. That's why when we rate things, we have thumbs up and thumbs down. It's a very easy way for people to be like, oh, that was good, or no, it wasn't. Okay, but to say, what did you like, is a lot more complex. And Benicio del Toro's character, you're talking about like a man that has nothing to lose. Okay? And again, I'm not going to get into the story, but he does some awful things in this story, and you shouldn't be proud of the things that he does because they're evil to a certain degree. They're no different than the drug cartels and what they do, right? It's just that he has the law behind him, so he is allowed to do it. And the same with Brolin's character. Brolin is a consultant that works through Del Toro's character because ultimately he can escape liability by having a fallback on Del Toro. And he runs operations that the United States cannot condone, but needs to. Okay, and this brings us to a huge topic, which is drug laws, and basically what that means to society. And they talk about it to a small degree in this film. It is not in any way, shape, or form preachy, which I appreciate. I don't like filmmakers or story writers that have agendas to set. You should believe in X because of what I say and what my characters do. You can manipulate a character to do anything. You can manipulate a character to be ultra good or ultra bad in order to prove your point of whatever it is that you want to say. It is far more complex to say that this is why this happens, but at this point we can't do anything about it, and this is a result as of now to what's going on. And that is a very, very complex thing. And ultimately, people don't often gravitate towards that because it's way too complex. They don't want to think about it. They want a soundbite that says drugs are bad or legalize pot. They don't want to think about all of the nuance that comes with either one of those statements. So this is kind of showing the nuance to it, and I think that it does show that audiences are a lot smarter than I think film producers or people that finance films think that they are. Because this film did well. In fact, I'm going to look it up real quick here. Give me 1 second to see how much this one made. Just bear with me here, because I'd like to know how much this one made. Because this was one of the more complex stories that I've seen in a while. It says it was nominated for 3 Oscars. Good for it. Okay. The budget was $30 million estimated, and it made 46 million, almost 47, and worldwide was 84. So it made double, a little bit more than double of what it was promised to be, and that's because of excellent casting, good story. Everybody played their part to a T. Emily Blunt is a really interesting lady to me. I'm always more fascinated, usually, by actresses than actors. Actors, it's a fairly linear business to be an actor. You know what I mean? You kind of have a role that people have designed for you, and you kind of fulfill it. You can see that from De Niro to whoever. I mean, I can point down Carrie, I don't know, Robin Williams. I mean, they all have kind of designed roles. Okay, now the wild card in any movie is the female protagonist, and it's because I believe that most writing is done by males. And because males don't understand females, they assign them as kind of a wild card, which is true to a certain degree. I mean, even if you look historically at the game chess, the queen has all the movement on the board, and she ultimately is the one that it results in the winner of the loss of the game because she forces other pieces to be taken. You don't really take pieces, I don't think, with a queen. I don't know chess that well and what the proper way of doing it. I wouldn't imagine that you would risk your queen for an insignificant piece, but what you would do is threaten that piece with the queen and then take it with another piece. Is basically kind of like what I think that chess would come down to. And ultimately, I'm trying to get back to Emily Blunt here. Emily Blunt plays a wide variety of characters. She has a pretty extensive rainbow of characters. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, she was the last Mary Poppins. Let me double check here. Sorry, some of this stuff I keep forgetting, and I never saw the Mary Poppins. I do want to see it, but yeah, it was Emily Blunt. She was from that to this FBI agent, that's idealistic and wet behind the ears and kind of wanting to seek revenge over something. It's just. I mean, she's a very, very talented actress. There's no doubt. There is no doubt in my mind that she's a talented actress. I don't think she's really hit on her role yet. I think she's been given a lot of roles that are good for her, and because she's talented, she's able to do them. But she hasn't hit on her role yet. If I was to wager a guess of what Emily Blunt's character really is I would put her in a historical sense in a western. I think she would do most well in a western because she's kind of a hardened woman that has a kind of vision that goes beyond. You know what I mean? Like kind of like when people were living on the prairie, they had to see beyond because they didn't know what trouble would come up. It could be marauders, it could be all kinds of stuff. So they had to be able to see and hear very, very well. And that's kind of her character. I think she would ultimately do well in science fiction as well. She definitely has kind of a Ripley-esque kind of vibe to her. So I think she would do well in those too. But again, that's just me. That's how I would cast her. I would cast her correctly because I'm very, very good at doing that. But that's ultimately up to someone else to decide what to do with it. But in any case, it doesn't matter because she does well in any role she does. But and again, Brolin was amazing. Brolin plays a pretty straight kind of conservative kind of guy. He does very, very well at it. Del Toro has expanded his acting to always impressive heights. I've never seen a Del Toro film where I've been like, he didn't play that well. He always does everything excellently, and he would be a winning asset to anyone's team on a film. But again, go watch Sicario. It's probably on Netflix or something like that. I don't know. It's not that hard to rent. And you're going to be blown away if you haven't seen it. And if you have seen it, rewatch it because it takes a couple of times to watch it, to understand it. Well, and until then, Auf Wiedersehen.